right, here we go, Beth. It's time. It's time for the podcast.
I'm so excited.
And we are joined by a TV legend, Mr. Bob Barker. Thank you for being here.
Woo.
And thank you for inviting me. It is a pleasure to be with you.
Well, thanks for inviting us here to your
actually,
house.
Yeah, we're actually sitting in his house.
Yes.
In Bob's house. You opened it up to us, which we very much
This
appreciate.
is not my house. I live next door.
Oh.
Because we told the Star Tours people, hey, check it out. He's right over here.
No, this is really my house.
It's
really
beautiful. And we're sitting in a
beautiful.
room with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
A lot.
19.
7, 8. Well, there's 8 Emmys in
They're
here,
left.
which is more than I have ever seen in one place, including when they line them up for the Emmy broadcast.
Right.
But that's not 11 of them are gone. 11 or 12 are gone.
12 of them are gone. Yes,
because
I've
you've
given them
away.
to appropriate people or organizations.
What's unbelievable is that there's still 8 here, and he's given so many away.
I know. It's kind of crazy.
And you were just telling us before we started that you gave away the Lifetime Achievement Award one to the Bob Barker Building, the PETA Building.
That one went to PETA and the Bob Barker Building. Right, exactly.
That's awesome.
You've got your own building. How many buildings do you have?
Well, actually, PETA owns the building.
Okay, but it's in
your name. It's your
But
name.
it's the Bob Barker Building.
That's pretty neat. And then
I think it's more than neat.
Yeah.
It's great. Yes.
it's amazing. And
I'm
then you've
most
got
impressed by this ship.
Beth really likes the ship.
I really
Bob
like
Barker.
the ship
The
because
Bob
I remember
Barker.
reading when the ship came out and everything that it did, and like now there's a model of it right next to the Emmys. It's
Right.
very exciting.
And there's a painting of it right behind you, Beth.
I'm most
and
impressed
the
by
painting
that.
up there, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is
pretty
a very
hardcore.
worthy cause. I'm sure
Yes.
you'll agree, Beth.
Absolutely.
Yes, I do. I do.
So we're here because we're celebrating your 90th birthday, and we had you on the show. The podcast will come out at about the same time that the show was on. So that's why we're here, and that's why we're celebrating you. What was it like? Because it had been, I think, 4 years. We were trying to do the math, and we're bad at math, which is not good for game show producers. But we're bad at math. And we figured,
Particularly ones with prices.
yes,
Prices right.
exactly, that are math related. What was it like coming back now after 4 years? Because the last time you were there, it hadn't been that long.
I have just described it to one person after another. And the word that I've used most is heartwarming. It was just you and your entire staff were so nice to me. And the fellows who were still there on the show, they were so...
And there's a
Yeah.
lot still
Oh,
that
yeah,
you commented to
many
you
of
that
them.
day. You looked at me, boy, there's a lot of familiar faces.
Right, there were. And then some of the fellas who had left the show came back.
Right. Marty Wagner
And
of
Marty
Note,
was there.
who was a cameraman for
Oh, of
35
course.
years, who I think tried to retire 3 times. I think at one point you went back and got him because he tried to leave, and at one point I went back and got him. He left, and I was like, Marty, you got to come back. We need you. And he went, okay. The poor guy, we wouldn't let him go. He finally is retired, but
And he came
still
back.
comes. He still comes by probably 3-4 times a season. So now going back, you described the experience as heartwarming. But were you nervous at all before? Because
No,
I've
I
never
felt
seen
right
you
at
with
home.
nerves.
I really did.
Well, I hope so.
And
It is your
Drew
studio.
made me feel right at home. He was just, of course, I've run into him a few times at Animal Affairs, and he's always very, very. He's charming. He's just and does my spay neuter plug loyally.
Yep.
Yes.
Like you
And
promised.
he made me feel so completely at home. I wrote him a note and said, thank you for sharing your stage with me, because that's exactly what he did. He just made me right at home.
That's lovely.
And when you watch the show, Bob came and did a number of things. One of the things he did was to present a showcase. And we had originally had him not on home base. We had him down on the floor, which is where, when we have guest stars do showcases, that's usually where they stand. But Bob said to me right away, he said, well, I was thinking I would be up there. And I said, is that something you'd like to do? And he said, yeah, I think that would be better. I said, that's even better.
I wanted to get near the victim.
Exactly. Well, and it was, and you'll all see it. It's amazing. And it did. It was a fantastic way to go. You're still, de facto executive producer of it. So that was, and as soon as, when Bob says something, you go, yep,
Okay.
that's not. Now, if it had been a terrible idea, I might have tried to talk you out of it, but I thought, oh, that's really, that's even better. And I wasn't sure how much you wanted to do and how involved you wanted to be at the time, but you jumped right in, and it
how
was
special for that contestant to have
Can you
Bob
imagine?
literally standing right next to them, like amazing.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
I can't
She
imagine.
was a good contestant. She was a good choice
Yeah.
to have participate.
Yeah, she was great. Now, as the producer of Price, one of the best parts of the show and one of the most frustrating parts of the show is that you don't control who plays for each game or for each prize because, of course, it's based on who wins their one bid. If you're me and you've got Bob Barker there for his 90th birthday, you're going to pick a bunch of different kinds of people because that's what Price is Right does. But you want the best people to be standing there with Bob Barker on the stage, not someone, picking their nose or doing whatever. Not that you wouldn't have made a great moment of that as well. But
I've never had that occur.
A nose pick?
No,
I've
never.
I'm going to go back.
I've never had to deal with that. I've had a lot of things happen.
Thousands of hours of tape of you, which is creepy. Most of it from The Price is Right.
Oh God! And now he knows where you live.
And now I know where he lives. And I think almost everything has happened to you.
Well, an awful lot of things have happened to me. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
and as a matter of fact, it was a dangerous show because these contestants. They win and then they attack.
Sure.
And it's a wonder that I survived.
I honestly, I've seen you hit hard like an NFL linebacker. I've seen people come up from the one bid with a running start.
That's right.
And hit you, and I just go, oh my word,
right.
what is going to happen?
They
here?
would butt me many times, and they would grab me and throw me around as if I were a little boy.
Yeah.
And they are so happy and so excited that they don't realize that I'm breakable.
Sure. Well, they do it to,
or
Drew's
was
lost.
I guess I still am.
You still might be. Drew has lost so much weight that people are now picking him up and throwing him around.
So
I understand that he lost the weight in part by running from them.
Yeah.
He was doing a lot of running on Price.
You know what? He is the same with, you guys are very different men, but there are some similarities. And the one thing that neither of you ever do is to diffuse a moment. So even though you knew you were going to get hit, even though he knows someone's about to lay a shoulder into him, you accepted it as a moment on the show and never ran from it. And never.
I almost never ran from it.
Well, I did see it.
Have you seen the outtake of that lady chasing me?
Yes.
She was beyond just being dangerous. She would have broken bones,
But that was you making an amazing moment. I mean, that's what I always feel. I mean, or maybe it's not a given. You're an amazing host, a surgeon. I always say Bob was a surgeon. Every contestant, if you look at the way every contestant is faced at the right angle, and you watch and I watch you. I studied it so much, a lot. And I'd sit and surgical in the way that you could explain the rules. Everybody got them, and away we went. Sometimes you would look in someone's eyes and they didn't understand it. Longer. Someone got it. You made sure the audience at home knew it. They got it, and away we went.
In a way to direct people that you've never even met before that are crazy.
Yeah, that you don't know. But so that to me, and your voice and intonation and building suspense, second to none ever in the history of the medium, really. The thing that I always felt you were underrated was how funny you are, because you made it look so easy. Drew is a comedian, and so people assume him to be funny, and he is. You were a great host, but you're hilarious. I mean, and you were funny on the show, but it was almost you were so good at everything else that you were so good at setting people up. Johnny Carson was the same way. There was a lot, and I studied Johnny Carson as a kid. It just came so easily that it never looked like you were being funny. It just looked like you were being in a moment. But if you really look at it, you're setting up the whole thing. You've set up the whole thing from a mile away, which is unbelievable.
Well, I'm not saying a word. I don't want to interrupt you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.